So we're going to start painting, class, and you are to choose, like it says on the PowerPoint, a colour that will be used to paint in the hills and the sky and the ground in the foreground. You have one of these palettes at the back of the classroom for one between two. It's filled with the three primary colours, yellow, red and blue, and it's got orange, green and purple, the three secondary colours. You can choose any of these colours to act as a background colour for your landscape. So you might want to have orange, and then it'll go to a much lighter orange sky at the top, and then it'll get much further darker as it comes further down, or the same with red or the same with purple. But there is that palette, one between two, for everyone in the class. And then there's the other palette here, and the only other colour that you'll be using is white to make some colours darker, and it might be either the brown or the black, depending on what colour it is that you choose for your main colour. So I'm going to choose, I think I will choose the orange as a background colour, and that's the first colour that I'm going to work from. At the back of the classroom, there's also jars with the paintbrushes. Get yourself a small paintbrush to help you go around any of the edges, and get yourself a slightly bit darker paintbrush. You'll probably also want a tissue to help you dry up your brush if you need to. So, like it said in the PowerPoint, you've to start off with a pure colour first. So this is my orange. I'm just going to clean it a wee bit to get rid of some of the yellow paint that's already in it. Go. So I'm going to dip my brush in the water, and I'm going to mix my brush into the block, and I'm going to start in the middle with pure orange, So that would probably be this part here. So with my paintbrush, this is a bit of a larger section, I'm going to block this in. I'm also going to use my small paintbrush, there we go, and I'll use that to block this in. So I'll take this bit here first. I'm going to keep my brush strokes going in the same direction as much as I possibly can. I will go around the trees as best I can, but if I go over them slightly, I'm not going to worry, because I'll be painting the trees later. I'm taking my time, and I'm making sure that I stay within the edges of my middle area, because this is about painting neatly and carefully, just like Hockney, keeping within your shapes. Now, as I said, as you go further up the way, it gets lighter. As it comes further down the way, it gets darker. So using a mixing tray and using the white, so I've got the white here, and I've got my orange here as well. So I'm going to put some of the orange onto my plate, and I'm going to mix some of the white with it. Wash my brush before I put it into the white so I don't make it too mucky. There we go. Put a bit more white on. There we go. Like so. So that makes it a wee bit lighter orange. So I've got a bit of a lighter orange there. So I'll just move these over. And that's going to be my next hill, because as you go further away, it gets much lighter. Again, keeping my brush strokes all in the same direction as much as I possibly can. Not always going to be possible. Don't worry about going over any other patterns or details, because you're going to get a chance to go on top of that later. You just want to get the shapes and the tones blocked in the background first. and ensure that you're trying to create that variation from dark to light, which adds to the impact of depth in your painting. Now at the top, it's going to be even lighter, much lighter, because that's much further away. So I'm going to use my large paintbrush. I'm going to try and get lots of white and blend that in with the orange rather that I've already got, making it quite pale. Keeping my brush strokes going in the same direction. Brush strokes in the same direction as much as I possibly can, and going backwards and forwards. You might go over some of the trees. If you can go round them, have a go at that. But this needs to be so that's the first step. Then the second half, it gets gradually darker. So with the orange, we need to put a darker colour in it to make it darker orange, and then much darker orange here. Now, if you're using red or purple or blue or green, you can mix black. So you gradually add a tiny bit of black and then again a wee bit more black. If you're using yellow or orange, the best advice is to use brown. So it's the brown on here that you're going to mix with the orange. Okay, so I've got my orange here. I'm going to put some more of it on my mixing tray. I'm going to get a bit of brown. So brown you use to make orange and yellow darker. You don't use black for those. If you use black for those, they'll go a horrible, horrible colour. So this is a bit darker. And then we're going to gradually add more brown to make it even darker at the foreground. So more brown, more orange, there we go. And that should look even darker, which it does. So that's the first step in getting your background painted. So you choose a colour. I'll recap. It can be one of the primary colours, red, yellow and blue, or it can be orange, green and purple, which is one of the secondary colours. You start off with a pure colour right in the centre. So I started off with pure orange. I gradually added white, more and more, so that it got lighter as it went further up, and then to the orange I added brown, and you can add brown to yellow and orange. If you're using other colours like the red, the blue, the purple and the green, you can add a tiny amount of black. And what we're doing, not only are we using the size of the trees and the direction of the path to create depth, but we're using a colour or tone rather to create depth. We're creating a darker tone of orange in the foreground because it's closer, and then a lighter orange as it goes further away to create depth in your painting. And that's the background completed, making sure you're painting your brush strokes all in the same direction.